want to thank Barry Whistler for curating the show, and particularly thank everybody for coming. So that's it. Have a good time. So basically, I've got these gouaches out here. The gouache is sort of an opaque watercolor, and those are out in the hall. That's what I do a lot, sitting at a drawing table. And then when I feel compelled to, I'll take one of those and make a direct replica onto a canvas. So this is an example of that. It's, right here. So I use geometric patterns, you can probably tell, and I guess I should say the reason that I call this show Optic Verve is because I'm really interested in the stimulation of the visual. What happens through the visual sensibility when you're looking at pieces, and that's what I want the viewer to get. Let's see, I'm rambling on. If anybody has any questions, just interrupt me. I'll say, I was going to say 3 things, so I said thank you. I said something about the washes, and a third thing. What's the third thing? What's the third thing?
The monkeys.
Yeah, I saw monkeys. So,
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's your process for determining the palette for each piece?
Well, the palette is completely intuitive. So what I do is I start in one area. I actually do this on a light table and just draw pieces. So I start with a pattern that doesn't look exactly like this, but is the basis for this. So once I get the pattern put on the paper with graphite, then I go and start doing these sort of different colors, and then I just react to the color that's there. And then so every color is a reaction to what's already there. And I really don't know what it's going to look like until the very end. And that's kind of when the shape sort of emerges. And I don't really think of them as abstract. I mean, they are, but I don't think of them as non-representational. They're kind of figurative in a way to me. And, when they're on this scale, it's sort of like a physical experience, I think. Yes.
When you were first painting, you did a lot of insects with adjacent to glamorous women.
Right.
And that was for a number of years.
Yes, I did that for a long time.
And so what led your thinking to?
Well, I think there was a point that I just got finished doing the figure. I didn't really have anything else to say about it. I didn't want to do it anymore, but I wasn't sure how to. I really wanted to be an abstract painter, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I was painting these paintings with the women and the insects and the birds, and I started putting patterns behind them so they looked like they were in an interior space. And then I would go back and I would paint the figure out because I didn't know how to compose a painting without having a figure in it. So that's how that started, and then I was able to kind of free up and finally do the patterns without the ladies. Barry, what was that quote in that review that was in Dallas? Somebody said, "Everybody smokes pot in Marfa." Right. But if I smoked pot, I really wouldn't be able to do this.
How's that figured? I mean, so clarity.
Well, I think because I can see something in it, and I'm not going to tell you what I see, because other people tell me, oh, I see that Rachel she sees something in it that I never saw before, but it's interesting to me. But that's one reason I don't title them too, is because I don't want to influence what the viewer is seeing. But I think it's just, I don't know.
So do you start with the shapes, like as you're thinking about the body, and you start with the shapes, or?
I don't think about the body. I think about the patterns. But then when it emerges, it sort of feels like a figure in a way.
Do you deliberately not use, because very few of these have like a pure form of that. That's got red, that's got cobalt blue, but
Yeah, they're pretty much all mixed. I don't think I really use anything out of the tube. And, you know, I just mess around with it. I really I don't do it on the computer. I just do it sitting at the drawing table. And then when I go from wash to oil, it's a whole other kind of thing. But I do the best I can to match the colors. And I don't use tape. That's another thing there. That's why I do use tape. I use strips of paper, but I don't want to have a hard edge between the shapes. And I want them to be really as sort of smooth as they can be. So they're kind of a sort of soft hard edge, a little bit of softness to it. Yeah.
It's hard to imagine the strips of
In
paper.
your gouaches, the line is very delineated, and
Right.
some of your paintings they are too, but just following up from what you were saying about, you know, this field, it's not. You're not delineating your line that when you are.
Right.
Is there any intention?
Well, these were earlier, these precede these paintings here. And the line is really specific to the paper, you know, and I really like the change up in the paintings to not have a line. I mean, these were sort of purposeful, that they're not part of the pencil, it's not the pencil line of the gouache, it's actual stripe in the gouache, you know. So, Susan, yeah.
I was going to ask how, since you don't use tape and you
Oh,
buffer
this
it with
paper
a piece
thing?
of another piece of paper, how
It's like
oil
the Kentucky
bleeds
Fried Chicken secret.
oil. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken bleeding through the oil. How?
No, medium. I don't use any medium. It's just paint. So and I've learned over the years to actually buy good paint, and it makes a huge difference. So you know you can do it without it bleeding if you're not diluting it or using any medium.
So you really don't dilute it, you just straight out of the tube, pretty much?
Mm-hmm, pretty much. Williamsburg.
Williamsburg.
Yeah. Pretty much.
How much is surface a part of these?
Oh, surface is a big part. I mean, there's very little brush stroke showing, but I don't want to have no brush stroke because they are, you know, hand painted. So I think the flatness is important, but I used to paint super flat, and I just felt they were too impersonal, kind of. So I like to have some brush stroke showing.
I love the shape shifting nose. It's really an optical experience.
Well, I love your skirt.
Those patterns, they get you every day.
Well, okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me.